The Battle of Armageddon is one of the most intriguing and frightening prophecies found in the Bible. Specifically in the book of Revelation 16:16, this event is described as the final confrontation between the forces of good and evil, involving all the peoples of the earth in an outcome of epic proportions. The name Armageddon itself conjures up images of total destruction and rebirth, which naturally attracts both scholars and those curious about the mysteries of biblical eschatology. The narrative of Armageddon begins with an in-depth analysis of the meaning of the term. Armageddon derives from a Hebrew word meaning Mount Megiddo, a real geographic location in ancient Israel known for being the site of several significant historical battles. This location is not only a geographic point, but also a symbol that transcends the physical, becoming an archetype of the spiritual and moral confrontation that permeates the biblical narrative. Megiddo, located in northern Israel, was a strategically positioned fortress along important trade and military routes. It has been the scene of numerous battles due to its crucial location, making it a natural reference point for the concept of an apocalyptic confrontation. The archaeological ruins of Megiddo bear witness to the history of intense conflict, but the true essence of the Battle of Armageddon is not confined to a mere physical location. This representation symbolizes the climax of the struggle between good and evil, a narrative that has resonated in the minds of millions through the centuries. The apocalyptic narrative fascinates for its ability to encapsulate the fears and hopes of humanity. Since ancient times, the idea of a catastrophic end to the world has served as both a warning and a promise of a new beginning. The Battle of Armageddon emerges as an archetype of the final judgment, where all forces align for an inevitable outcome. This apocalyptic perspective holds the interest not only of religious scholars, but also of ordinary people who see parallels in the sacred texts with modern challenges. The idea of a single, decisive confrontation is appealing not only because of the grandeur of the event, but also because of the implicit promise that good will prevail. This prophetic event is intrinsically linked to the vision of the final judgment, where evil is defeated once and for all, paving the way for divine justice and redemption. This theme has been a source of comfort for believers throughout the ages, offering hope for a better future beyond earthly trials. The wealth of detail and symbolism found in the book of Revelation provides a solid foundation for understanding the deeper meaning of Armageddon. The text uses powerful imagery to illustrate the final confrontation, such as the 7 bowls of God's wrath, the angels, and the heavenly signs. Each element is carefully chosen to convey the grandeur and seriousness of the event, highlighting its importance in the biblical narrative. In addition to its spiritual impact, the prophecy of Armageddon also has a psychological dimension, reflecting the collective fears and anxieties of humanity. The fear of global destruction and the desire for redemption are universal themes that resonate deeply across cultures and eras. The idea of a catastrophic end serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of human existence and the need for spiritual preparation. John's Revelation, with its dramatic visions and prophetic messages, invites readers to reflect on their own lives and choices. The prophecy of Armageddon is not just a prediction of a future event, but also a call to action in the present. It urges believers to remain vigilant, firm in their faith, and prepared to face the spiritual challenges that arise. The Battle of Armageddon, with its depth and complexity, continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. It offers a unique perspective on the destiny of humanity, combining elements of destruction and hope, judgment and redemption. It is a narrative that transcends time, remaining relevant and meaningful in every age. The Battle of Armageddon is not just an ancient story or a biblical prediction. It has surprising relevance today, especially when considered in light of current geopolitical tensions. The modern world, with its economic crises, armed conflicts, and climate change, presents a scenario that many interpret as a prelude to apocalyptic events. This creates a powerful emotional connection with the concept of Armageddon, which can be seen as a reflection of humanity's internal and external struggles. When comparing the events described in Revelation with current situations, it is possible to observe disturbing similarities. Regional wars, political rivalries, and nuclear threats evoke the feeling that the world is on the brink of a great conflict. Such parallels are not coincidental, but rather proof of the cyclical nature of human conflicts and the eternal struggle between opposing forces. This repetition of patterns throughout history reinforces the idea that humanity is constantly seeking balance, even in the midst of chaos. Another aspect that increases the fascination with Armageddon is the feeling of powerlessness in the face of greater forces, be they natural, political, or spiritual. This final battle represents the culmination of this struggle, where the fate of the world will be decided once and for all. Such a prospect not only provokes anxiety, but also a deep desire for justice and redemption. In a world where people often feel at the mercy of events beyond their control, the concept of a final battle that will bring order to chaos offers a powerful and comforting narrative. Biblical prophecy offers a narrative that makes sense of this chaos, suggesting that order will eventually be restored. This promise of redemption and a new beginning appeals to humanity's inherent hope. Even in the midst of crises and disasters, the idea that good will ultimately triumph resonates deeply, offering a ray of hope in times of darkness. In addition, the uncertainty surrounding the exact location and nature of the Battle of Armageddon adds to its appeal. Some scholars argue that Megiddo serves more as a metaphor than a physical location. This unsolved mystery keeps the topic relevant, fueling theological debate and popular speculation. The ambiguity surrounding Armageddon allows it to be interpreted in multiple ways, making it a flexible theme that can be adapted to contemporary challenges. The fascination with Armageddon is also fueled by the existential questions it raises. What does it mean to be prepared for an apocalyptic event? How can humanity redeem itself in the face of its own failures? These questions do not have easy answers, but the search for them is what makes the study of Armageddon so compelling and relevant. The biblical narrative not only provides a vision of a possible end, but also challenges individuals to reflect on their own lives and seek a path to redemption. In this context, Armageddon is not only a prophecy of destruction, but also a call to action. It urges people to reconsider their choices and seek a life of greater meaning and purpose. Armageddon's contemporary relevance lies in its ability to serve as a mirror to modern challenges and a reminder that, despite adversity, there is always hope for redemption and renewal. Armageddon is not only an apocalyptic event, but also a profound spiritual symbol. In the biblical context, it represents the final confrontation between God and Satan, between good and evil. This battle is not only physical, but also spiritual, involving all the forces of the universe. Through this struggle, divine justice will finally be established, and evil will be defeated forever. The Book of Revelation uses rich, symbolic imagery to describe this event, suggesting that it transcends the earthly plane. The 7 angels, the 7 bowls of God's wrath, and the heavenly signs paint a picture of a cosmic war. This narrative is fascinating not only for its grandeur, but also for its promise of a new beginning, where good triumphs and a new heaven and a new earth emerge. Spiritually, Armageddon is a call to preparation and vigilance. It reminds believers of the importance of remaining steadfast in the faith and preparing for the second coming of Christ. This final battle is therefore a metaphor for each individual's internal struggle against the forces of evil in their own lives. It is an invitation to reflect on one's own path and to align oneself with the forces of good. The vivid and detailed description of Armageddon in Revelation is not only a warning but also a message of hope. It assures believers that, regardless of the difficulties and trials they face in the present, good will prevail in the end. This is one reason why the prophecy resonates so strongly today, offering comfort and hope in times of uncertainty. The spiritual symbolism of Armageddon transcends time and space, making it a universal archetype. It is a constant reminder that good and evil are in a perpetual battle, not only in the external world, but also within each person. This spiritual dualism is central to many religious and philosophical traditions, highlighting the internal struggle that everyone faces throughout their lives. The final battle, as described, also serves as a test of faith. It challenges believers to maintain their trust in God even when facing extreme adversity. The promise of the ultimate victory of good over evil is a powerful incentive for spiritual perseverance, reinforcing the idea that faith and morality are essential to achieving redemption. Furthermore, Armageddon as a spiritual symbol has practical implications for everyday life. It inspires believers to live according to their values and to strive to do good, even in the face of significant challenges. This practical application of biblical prophecy emphasizes the importance of moral actions and choices, which are seen as contributing to the ultimate victory of good. In short, Armageddon is a narrative rich in spiritual meaning that offers both a warning and a promise. It urges individuals to reflect on their lives, to seek justice, and to prepare for a future where good will prevail. This profound and timeless spiritual symbolism continues to inspire and guide people of all ages. The Battle of Armageddon is not just a cataclysmic event at the end of time. It reflects a moment of profound reflection on the role of each human being in the cosmic journey. In exploring this topic, it is necessary to unravel the intrinsic connection between human actions and the final outcome of the conflict between the forces of good and evil. In presenting this battle as inevitable, the Bible does not portray it as a distant event with no influence on individuals. Rather, it proposes that everyone has a vital role, whether through their direct or indirect choices, in the course of this spiritual war. At the heart of the Armageddon prophecy is a message of action and decision. Rather than simply being a prediction of the future, this battle becomes a reflection of humanity's current situation. Every moral or immoral act, every choice of fidelity or rebellion, is portrayed as a direct contribution to the unfolding of this cosmic confrontation. This is the point at which humanity becomes an active part of the event rather than a mere spectator. The battle between divine and evil forces symbolizes more than a metaphysical contest. It is reflected in the everyday choices of human beings. At every moment, people's individual and collective decisions are placing them on one side or the other of this spiritual struggle. The Bible, with its emphasis on free will, challenges the idea that human destiny is predetermined. Instead, it insistently calls humanity to choose the path of righteousness, emphasizing that even in the face of evil, human actions can have the power to influence the final outcome. This notion of free will brings a sense of urgency, for choices are not just personal, they are collective. The way societies are organized, the laws they impose, the values they perpetuate, all of these have direct implications for the global scenario of Armageddon. When we look at the contemporary world, we see that divisions, injustices, and the departure from moral principles are not just individual failings, but also manifestations of a collective distancing from true spirituality. In this context, Armageddon becomes a mirror that reflects the need to reform humanity, to align itself with values that transcend selfishness and materialism. By delving deeper into this concept, the idea of responsibility broadens, bringing to light a crucial reflection. What does it mean to be truly responsible in the face of a spiritual crisis of such magnitude? In many moments of daily life, people may feel small in the face of the world's great problems, such as wars, social injustices, and environmental catastrophes. However, Armageddon reminds us that every choice, no matter how small, has an impact on the course of history. Moral neglect, indifference to the suffering of others, or passive acceptance of evil contribute to an escalation of destructive forces. The prophecy of Armageddon leaves no room for neutrality. There is no safe zone of inaction or indifference where human beings can take refuge. Every action, every word, and even every thought is part of a larger cosmic dynamic. Responsibility, therefore, is both personal and collective. As a society, we are called to create a more just, compassionate, and altruistic world. Armageddon serves as a constant reminder that our collective choices in the social, political, and environmental spheres can determine the future that lies ahead. Furthermore, the final battle is not only a scenario of destruction, but also of redemption. Even in the apocalyptic context, Armageddon offers the chance for a new beginning, where humanity, if it chooses to align itself with divine principles, can participate in a great victory over evil. This victory is not only the defeat of the forces of evil, but also the restoration of a lost balance. Human beings, by choosing good, not only save themselves individually, but also contribute to the collective rescue of humanity. It is at this point that free will gains extraordinary importance. The fight of Armageddon, although fought between divine and evil entities, is also an internal fight that each individual carries within themselves. The choices made throughout life shape not only personal destiny, but also influence the final outcome of this spiritual battle. The Bible offers an optimistic view. Evil, however powerful it may be, is never invincible if individuals choose light and justice. Through free will, humanity has the ability to redeem itself. This is not an event in which a higher being or an external force imposes salvation. It is, in fact, the ability of human beings to elevate themselves spiritually, to recognize past mistakes and choose to follow a more virtuous path. Armageddon, therefore, is not an end, but a transition. It serves as a moment of decisive choice, where those who repent and align themselves with good have the chance to be participants in a new era of peace and justice. Armageddon also carries an element of collective redemption. Humanity, in its entirety, must unite to achieve final victory. While individual decision is crucial, global transformation only occurs when people unite in pursuit of a common goal, the restoration of divine balance in the world. This concept of unity is fundamental, as it suggests that the final battle is not just a fight between good and evil, but a battle to restore harmony among all human beings. The victory of good at Armageddon is a victory that transcends the individual and extends to all humanity. This collective redemption is central to the vision of a humanity reconciled to its true divine nature. Working together, supporting one another, and working together in solidarity are seen as powerful means to achieve this goal. When people stand together against oppression, injustice, and cruelty, they become an unstoppable force that can change the course of history. This perspective offers a message of hope, especially in times of division and conflict. When one looks at the current world landscape, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the challenges we face. However, Armageddon teaches that even in the face of chaos and impending destruction, humanity has the ability to choose good, restore justice, and create a new era of peace. The concept of divine justice is another key aspect of the Armageddon prophecy. The final battle is not only a struggle for the victory of good over evil, but also a time of judgment. The Bible describes a final judgment where every action, every decision, and every thought of all human beings will be examined. This judgment is not only a reflection of past actions, but also an opportunity for humanity to make amends and align itself with the divine. For those who have suffered at the hands of injustice, Armageddon offers the promise of divine reparation. The final judgment will therefore be a time of vindication for those who have been oppressed, wronged, and marginalized throughout history. Divine justice, in this sense, is perfect, for it brings truth to light and corrects all errors. This offers comfort and hope to those who live under the shadow of injustice, for in the end all the distortions of evil will be corrected. The Battle of Armageddon, as described in the Bible, has stood the test of time and has adapted to the concerns, values, and contexts of contemporary societies. Through the lens of modernity, the interpretation of this apocalyptic event has diversified, reflecting not only a possible literal war between good and evil, but also broader and deeper symbolisms that touch on the most pressing and complex issues of our time. The interpretation of Armageddon, therefore, is shaped by the global crises, existential dilemmas, and spiritual challenges that characterize modern times. The way in which modern societies perceive the Battle of Armageddon is strongly influenced by the greatest fears and questions of the 21st century. Many people look at environmental disasters, fears of nuclear war, and global crises and identify in them the elements that biblical prophecy anticipates. In the contemporary context, Armageddon is not just an event that will occur in the distant future, but an urgent warning about the path that humanity is taking. Increasing environmental degradation, the depletion of natural resources, and the acceleration of climate change are seen by some as signs that humanity is, in some sense, contributing to Armageddon itself. The destruction of the environment, in its most extreme forms, can be interpreted as a direct metaphor for the final battle. Irresponsible use of natural resources, pollution, and neglect of global warming can be seen as evil actions that are putting the planet on a path of self-destruction. Thus, Armageddon becomes a warning to humanity. The degradation of the natural world may be the earthly representation of the destructive and evil forces that are approaching. Furthermore, the fear of nuclear war and the constant risk of armed conflict on a global scale fit perfectly into the modern interpretation of Armageddon. The possibility of a large-scale nuclear confrontation, with its catastrophic and irreversible consequences, resonates with the biblical descriptions of massive destruction and chaos. Political and military tensions, weapons of mass destruction, and ideological disputes are, for many, the new battlefields of prophecy. The constant threat of war, combined with the possibility that humanity may be responsible for its own annihilation, means that Armageddon is no longer seen as a distant and mystical event, but as a tangible reality in the present scenario. This interpretation is undoubtedly a call to action. The prophecy of Armageddon, read from the perspective of contemporary issues, becomes a plea for humanity to change its way of acting in relation to the natural world, war, and collective morality. It prompts us to reflect on what we are doing today to ensure a future where Armageddon does not happen, not as a literal battle, but as the collapse of our civilization due to the wrong and destructive choices we are making now. On the other hand, there is a more introspective and spiritual interpretation of Armageddon that focuses on the internal and psychological struggle that occurs within each individual. In this reading, Armageddon is not seen as a physical war, but as a spiritual and moral struggle that unfolds in the minds and hearts of people. The real battle, in this case, takes place in the field of ethics, morality, and the search for the meaning of life, where good and evil confront each other in everyday decisions, personal choices, and deep-seated beliefs. Armageddon, therefore, represents the inner conflict that everyone faces when trying to deal with the temptations, addictions, and adversities of modern life. In a world increasingly saturated with external influences that promote consumerism, vanity, and selfishness, the true battlefield would be that of self-discipline, renunciation, and the search for higher spiritual values. The clash between good and evil manifests itself in the choices of the individual, in how he decides to live his life, in how he reacts to suffering, injustice, and temptation. This spiritual vision of Armageddon also proposes that the battle is not only about the choice between good and evil, but about the choice of personal redemption. Internal transformation, which can be seen as the true battlefield, is crucial to the realization of a more compassionate and just humanity. Rather than waiting for a cataclysmic event, this interpretation calls people to engage in a process of self-transformation. Redemption begins with each individual, who by overcoming his own temptations and failures, contributes to the construction of a better world. In addition to spiritual and psychological interpretations, many modern approaches treat Armageddon as a powerful metaphor for the great global crises affecting the world today. The final battle, in this perspective, refers not only to a cosmic conflict, but to humanity's struggle against its own existential challenges and flaws. In times of growing inequality, violence, discrimination, and economic uncertainty, Armageddon becomes a vivid image of the social and cultural pressures that threaten global stability. In a world in which political and social tensions are constantly rising, Armageddon is often interpreted as a reflection of the struggle for the survival of our civilization. Growing political polarization, extremist movements, the struggle for scarce resources, and ideological clashes are interpreted by some as manifestations of the conflict described in the Bible. In this reading, Armageddon is not just a physical war, but a battle of ideas, a clash between different worldviews that oppose each other in their quest for power and influence. The moral decay and ethical problems facing humanity are also seen as fundamental elements of this struggle. What was once a society that sought the common good is increasingly fragmented, with a growing focus on material rewards and individualism. The modern Armageddon, then, can be read as a reflection of the moral crisis of contemporary society, a crisis that, if not resolved, could lead to the collapse of essential values such as solidarity, justice, and human dignity. Regardless of the interpretation adopted, one thing is certain: Armageddon continues to be a powerful source of reflection, both on times past and on the challenges of the present and the possibilities for the future. The prophecy of Armageddon brings with it a promise of hope and redemption. Although the imagery of the end times can be frightening, the central idea of the prophecy is that, in the end, good will prevail. Humanity, despite its flaws, has the chance to redeem itself, to transform itself, and to achieve a new era of peace and harmony. This message of hope is particularly important at a time when many feel the world is on the brink of an existential crisis. In times of despair, Armageddon serves as a reminder that even in the face of destruction and chaos, there is always the possibility of salvation. Armageddon calls us to reflect on our ability to change, to transform the world, and to persevere in faith and goodness, no matter the adversity. The Battle of Armageddon, as described in Revelation 16:16, is much more than a simple prediction of a catastrophic event. It is a powerful reminder of the constant struggle between good and evil, both in the external world and within ourselves. This final battle symbolizes the culmination of all of humanity's struggles and the promise of a new era of peace and justice. As we reflect on the meaning of Armageddon, we are invited to consider our own lives and the choices we make each day. The prophecy calls us to action, encouraging us to fight for good, to seek justice, and to remain steadfast in faith, even in the face of adversity. It is an invitation to be part of the solution rather than the problem, to be a force for good in a world often plagued by evil. Thus, the Battle of Armageddon is not just a future event, but a present reality, challenging us to live with purpose and contribute to a better world. This topic, with its depth and relevance, continues to resonate, offering a message of hope and encouragement for all of us. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, turn on the notification bell to be notified of our posts. Until the next video.